The only thing that we can manage in our life is our expectations from the life, from the investments, etc. The purpose of today's video is to give you a fair valuation of 3 big islands and waterfront properties built there, as to set your expectations in the right way. All of 3 islands have their pros and cons. They're good for some purposes, they're not good for other purposes. So when you make informed decisions, you don't get frustrated or unpleasantly surprised because you picked the wrong tool for the goal you had in your mind. So the purpose of the video is to show you what you can use that properties for in Rashid Yachts and Marina, in Maritime City, and in Dubai Islands. This place is called Creek Island. It was artificially turned from peninsula into an island, and we have a very mature community if we take only the island, and we can use it as a benchmark what waterfront properties without beach access can look like and perform like, and what they're good for and bad for, so that we can compare that to upcoming projects. Of course, there will be differences, but the frame of valuation and setting your expectations will be the same for these properties done, completed, and handed over, and the upcoming project. So closest comparison out of 3 upcoming projects is Maritime City, where we will have comparably smaller area than the Creek Island, but still it is waterfront, it's overlooking ocean. And let's check what we have. So if we talk about master plan of upcoming project in Maritime City, the selling points are quite similar to what we already have here in Creek Island. There will be an embarkment where you will have restaurants, cafes, etc. It will be shorter than here, because here it will be a circle of 4.5 kilometers long with 350 plus restaurants, cafes, and outlets. So let's compare that and think that it will be pretty the same. But we should keep in mind that Emaar is still the best company in the world to manage commercial properties, to manage their set of vendors for their communities, malls, etc. They have the best expertise in the world for that. Another selling point for Maritime City is a Dorchester hotel, which is definitely one of the high-class hotels, but Address Hotel, managed by Emaar, is a comparable value for money. Arguable point, someone likes one project over another, but in general, Address offers you grand lobby, cafes and restaurants, serviced apartments, hotel, and that's pretty close to what Dorchester will deploy in Maritime City. And I personally like this place. I live here, and I think it's perfect for someone who wants to rent properties rather than to invest into them. Because in this building, which is the best, actually the best building in this particular area in Creek Harbor, in this building, if we check the original prices and the selling prices now, the appreciation for the last 5 years in total was around 35%. Of course, there were some market trends that pushed every property handed over after COVID up or down, or, we have a point why we cannot put a direct line and a correlation between handed over and upcoming projects. But again, just a general frame, a set of selling points for upcoming area exists here. And this project is good for a tenant because your rent compared to the price of property is relatively low here. So it's good for tenant, but it's bad for landlord who was expecting higher rents. So that's true for long-term contracts, for residential contracts in this area. But you might say, what about short-term rentals? Well, this area caters to residents of Dubai. There are not much tourists here. And this is the main questions that you should have a clear answer before investing into anything. What is your target audience? Who will be your project catering to? What is the reason why someone will be paying you premium or will be paying you higher rents to get that unit that you are investing in? In Creek Harbor, the target audience is residents of Dubai who need to be close to downtown, needs to be close to schools, and who want a waterfront property or a pedestrian-friendly community. So if we try to answer to this question, for Maritime City, Rashid Yachts and Marina, and Dubai Islands, there will be completely different answers, and that means completely different investment strategies. For Maritime City, if you ask developers who are present on the island, they will tell you that, yes, it's serving tourists, residents, everyone. But as I always say, any generalizations and vague statements do not bring you closer to investment decision. So with Maritime City, the area itself is too small to develop a needed infrastructure for, let's say, tourists. So it's about a 1 kilometer embankment where you have twice smaller amount of restaurants and F&Bs that you have here in Creek Harbor. and all the activities that people can do in the area in walking distance. So there will be a hotel, okay, but like here in lobby of address, you don't spend days, especially with the family. When you came for 1 week for vacation in Dubai, you don't spend days on 1 kilometer of embankment and in a hotel. So there are other fancy facilities that will be coming to the island, but when you look on the map, just evaluate the size of upcoming project. It's not enough to develop what tourists are coming from. They need sightseeing, they need beach access, they want shopping, and none of this exists on Maritime City. So this project is more likely to cater to residents of Dubai. Now, the next question arising is, who are those residents, where they work, where they study, where their kids are going to schools, who will need properties in that particular location? And to answer that question, developer will tell you that it's DIFC or downtown residents, I mean employees or those who have business there, who will be staying in Maritime and will be happy to live in a waterfront community. That might happen. The points of concern for me here, let's say we look at other benchmarks. In an area, a big area like Creek Island, it's still, for me personally, not that convenient because the mall, the school, the hospital, they are in 10 to 15 minutes drive. They are not inside this community. That will be still built in the upcoming phase of Creek Harbor, and then the prices will catch up. But in a relatively small area, you don't have enough space to expand that infrastructure. Just look at the best examples of family-oriented communities in Dubai, like Jumeirah Golf Estates, like Dubai Hills, actually built by the same developer, by MR. In Dubai Hills, you have 25 to 30% higher price per square foot compared to this community, despite it's newer, it's better, it has waterfront properties compared to Dubai Hills, right? But still, prices are 30% higher there because for residents, it's more convenient. It's one of the most convenient, actually, projects in Dubai. You have one of the best malls, Dubai Hills malls, in walking distance from most of the properties. You have golf courses, kindergartens, you have one of the best hospitals in the area, you have geographical center of Dubai. So regardless where you need to be during your daytime routine, you're pretty the same proximity. So it gives us an answer what residents need to pay you higher rents. So it's a convenience, it's time being saved on logistics and some infrastructure that the residents need. So Maritime is competing for people in DIFC in downtown, as the developer says, but there are so many communities around DIFC and downtown that are also competing for this relatively small amount of people. I mean, inside downtown and inside DIFC, you have also residential properties, a lot of them. So there should be solid reasons why people will prefer, let's say, Maritime compared to downtown, or Maritime compared to DIFC, or Maritime compared to Dubai Water Canal, or compared to Creek Harbor, because Creek Harbor properties are a direct competitor for Maritime City because it's waterfront, it's the same distance or even closer to downtown and DIFC. It is developed by the best company that builds communities in Dubai. What I say as cons and selling points why Maritime can be more preferred choice compared to Creek Harbor is that Maritime has, well, they are promising beach access through Dorchester Hotel area. And I'm not sure if that will be a public beach or that will be accessible only for hotel residents, because that usually happens in Dubai. You set your expectations based on what developers are selling, and then situations change, you know. Some serviced apartments turn into not serviced. Some branded properties turn into not branded. And some accesses that you were promised verbally, that promises were not put into contract, they disappear. I'm not saying that it happens to big reputable developers. Just these cases just exist. I cannot talk of things that I'm not sure at. That's still a question for me. So if you are investing in Maritime City, I would set my expectations as following. You are investing into properties that will be catering to residents of Dubai who need to be close to the sea or who like the sea views, who don't need actually everyday beach access, but will be close to the accessible beaches on island and on Dubai Islands. Now, if we ask the same question about target audience, Yachts and Marina area, I see one group of users who will definitely need properties in that area, and it's people who own boats or who like boats or who have them as a hobby. For all other groups of users, it's not evident advantage to be next to biggest marina, well, actually shipyard in Dubai. And again, if you look on the map, it's relatively a small area to develop enough infrastructure to cater to residents. And tourists have some daytime attractions over there. Maybe some fashion shopping, some nice restaurants and cafes, but what would you prefer if you are for 1 week in Dubai with your family? Do you want to stay next to fancy boats, restaurants, etc., and to drive to beach and back every day? Or you want to stay on the beach and drive in the evening to a place where you have some fashion dining, shopping, entertainment, and then get back to your apartment or hotel on the beach side? Because you will spend more time on the beach if you are for 1 week or for whatever vacation in Dubai than you spend in restaurants, etc., etc. So it makes sense for tourists to stay on a beach side. So that again answers the question, who is the target audience? They are tourists or they are residents? Are they short-term rental demand or long-term rental demand? So in this case, in Rashid Yachts and Marina, I see that the potential target audience is the boat owners and those who have it as a hobby, or the people who want their kids to be attending the yachtsman schools and to be in these water sports. So is that group of users or that group of residents of Dubai big enough to create a bigger demand for that properties than the actual supply of the properties in that area? That's a question to be answered by you as an investor. What I can do, I cannot rely on any figures because we don't have relative data estimating how many people that have this as hobby or boat owners that want to live next to their boats we have in Dubai. But definitely Dubai is the best spot in the world where you can own a boat or where you can rent it or where you can do water sports. Now answering the same question for Dubai Islands. If you look on the map and you eliminate the empty spaces between the fronts of Palm Jumeirah, Dubai Islands are bigger than Palm Jumeirah. And from the beginning, it was designed by Dubai's tourism department together with Nakhil, the government developer. It was shaped and designed to be the touristic destination. 86 hotels will be there. Pedestrian cycling infrastructure is in the place. They're building one of the biggest malls in Dubai. If you check on the Google Maps the size of that thing, you will understand that people who are staying there near the beach and near the mall will have some unique experience. They will be in walking distance from the beach and from the mall. These are the two reasons why 60% of people from 17 million tourists are coming to Dubai yearly. So you have relatively big group of users for that properties, for short-term rentals definitely. And Dubai Islands consists of 5 islands. And one of the islands has villas and townhouses for the residents who want to be on a beach side, who want to a villa or a townhouse with the open sea views. And to cater their needs, Nakhil will build also school, hospital, a big mall, again, caters to tourists and to residents. And you have one of the best connectivity built for Dubai Island. And just yesterday, RTA and Nakhil signed an agreement to build additional bridge to connect Dubai Island, to improve Dubai Island's connectivity. So the answer to the question for Dubai Island is following. There are strips of land where you will see the highest outcome for properties being put on short-term rentals. The strip of land between beach and mall where you have equally 200 meters in each direction walking distance will be perfectly catering to tourists coming for beachside vacation in Dubai. The only place in Dubai where you have 200 meters walking distance to these two attractors. On the other island, Island B, you will have villas, townhouses, and apartments more serving to residents of Dubai rather than to tourists. And on upcoming islands, you will see golf courses, villas that will be serving to very high net worth individuals, because it will be the first case in the world when golf courses are built inside the sea on artificial island, man-made island. So to answer the question, who is the target audience for Dubai Islands, we have two answers. It is perfectly catering to short-term rental demand for tourists coming for beachside vacation because it has two attractors in the same place in walking distance, mall and beach, and a lot of public beach access, private beaches, 86 hotels and restaurants. If some areas have 1 hotel or 3 hotels, that area will have 86 with restaurants, clubs, etc., everything that you might need. You don't need to travel anywhere from that place. And on the other hand, Dubai Island have separate islands that cater more to residents, because villas and townhouses obviously will be more for residents together with the school that they want to build. So school, villas, hospital, mall, this is infrastructure that caters to residents. And some of the concerns that I hear is that Dubai Islands is on a flight path with the DXB airport. You know, there are some funny brokers that running around that island with these noise pollution maps and saying, here we hear the planes, over there we don't hear the planes that much, here we hear them more. That is irrelevant. I mean, this piece of data that they're using, whether this noise pollution map, is just a nonsense. Imagine a Cessna airplane passing that area or a Boeing passing the same way. It will create different noise pollution. And to plan your investment properly, you don't use this micro pieces of data. You look at the bigger picture. Let's assume that the whole island is equally suffering from the noise. Okay? There's no difference. What you have on that noise pollution map, let's imagine that all 5 islands are equally suffering from that big noise, but which is not, but let's assume the worst case scenario. So let's keep in mind that DXB's airport operations, at least Emirates Airlines, are moving to Al Maktoum Airport by 2032. So whatever you are investing now, you are investing in properties under the flight path that are suffering from noise. What happens to the prices of these properties when the area's infrastructure is ready, when the flights are moved to Al Maktoum and 80% or 90% of the air traffic is moved to other area? Will the prices of your properties go down or they will go up when the flights are moved and when infrastructure is ready? So I'd rather be buying properties on the current flight path that is moving to other area rather than doing vice versa, buying properties in a future flight path. And when the properties are ready, when they're handed over, when flight path has moved, when the infrastructure is ready, that's where my appreciation will come. And that is coinciding with the plans of shifting the flights from DXB to Al Maktoum Airport. Now let's talk some numbers. If you have different target audiences, it means different returns in capital appreciation and different returns in rental yields. Based on that, there will be fair price per square foot for each of the target audiences. So those who are catering to tourists, usually in Dubai, bring you 10 to 12% in rental yields per year. That's market's average for seaside properties with beach access. Best cases are reaching 15%. Now, residential properties will generally bring you 6 to 8% rental yields or 35% capital appreciation, where the properties catering to tourists can bring you up to 70% capital appreciation in current market. Now, when you look at price per square foot on 3 islands, in Maritime City, we are crossing already 2,300 for some of the projects. There are different developers on the island, but that's the latest launches. On Rashid Yachts and Marina properties, we are crossing 3,000 per square foot. And these 2 projects are catering to residents. While in Dubai Island, we have a lot of different developers. And let's say from a master developer from Nakhil, on the first line from the beach, you can buy properties, a project called Baygrove. Latest phase was selling for 2,500 dirhams per square foot. So what this means to you as an investor, there is a fair price that you want to pay for properties that cater to residents with 6 to 8% rental yield, 35% capital appreciation, compared to properties that cater to tourists that can give you 10 to 12% rental yields. If that is an investment, then the cash flow that properties generate will have a fair price on secondary market. And the fair secondary price for this same unit will be calculated in this formula. If you buy any ready property today that caters to residents, from your secondary price, from a ready properties price, your cash flow will be around 4 to 6% for residential properties. I mean, those who cater to residents of Dubai. For touristic properties, 10 to 12% will be from original price, but from secondary price, your cash flow will be 8 to 10%, to be conservative. So if you can calculate what is the potential, how much will be your rental income from both options, residential and touristic properties. And from that figure, you can calculate what will be your resale price for that same properties. Then you can tell, is the asking price from a developer right now is fair or not, if it's an investment for you. Another case for these 3 islands is when you are buying property for your personal use. In this case, price per square foot and size of apartment is something that differs from client to client. It's something that I cannot calculate properly because decision will be based on how you like the property, the location, the colors, the design, etc. So it's not measurable by metrics, but it's more depending on taste, likeness, etc. And in this case, if you're buying for personal use, any of the properties on any of these islands will be a good choice where you wake up in the morning, you are in a good mood, your family feels comfortable. So these are the main metrics that you can rely on buying for personal use. We really they have some of the very good restaurants here in Creek Harbor on the embankment. I'm not sure about other areas, like in Rashid Yachts and Marina. MR will do pretty the same job. I'm sure that they will be managing the properties in the right way, the commercial places and the restaurants. But the selection we have here is very good, really. By the way, this is the best pizza in Dubai. You know that? It's a new place. While we were preparing this video, a new launch by Miras is absolutely killing. It's a market changer for these two areas because it's also waterfront. It's on a bank of Dubai Water Canal, but it's literally in 5 minutes from downtown, from Dubai Mall. It's right across the road from Business Bay. It is on the edge of the water in a master community developed by Miras. It's the same developer who built Blue Waters Island, Mars Al Arab, one of the most expensive projects in Dubai, Bulgari Island, one of the most expensive communities in Dubai, with prices for villas crossing 150, 400 million dirhams. Now, that same developer is launching a master community design district where first phase was commercial properties and offices where the headquarters of the most well-known fashion and architect and design companies are already sitting. So in continuation of that concept, they introduced a new phase of fashion district and a new project on the water edge with fountains, with amenities, with so many attractors that I see that that community will be way stronger and way more appealing for residents downtown and the DIFC compared to what islands are offering. And again, if you are targeting residents of downtown, Business Bay and DIFC, this relevantly smaller number of people, then you should keep in mind that now Design District is one of the strongest competitor for that target audience. And with the connectivity that area provides, by the way, it's on the bank, on the embankment that has cycling and running tracks that can connect you with the billionaire row of Dubai, with Dubai Water Canal, where more than 300 high-end cafes and restaurants will be built. It has all the selling points that Maritime or Rashid Yachts and Marina offer, except yachts. So I would think twice where residents would prefer to be. In 5 minutes from their work, waterfront, with the best connectivity, in a place that will be filled with nightlife, with events, with presentations. Design district tells you, right, about the concept of the area. Or you want to be in a calm area with ocean views. Whatever you need to reach, you will need the car. So that new launch by Miras is capable of outsourcing the infrastructure, the schools, the golf courses, all the other amenities from neighboring communities, because it's well connected with Meydan, with Shoba Heartland, where you have 2 good schools. It's literally in 5 minutes from Design District. In 3 minutes from Design District, you are connected to Meydan, which is also developing a very strong infrastructure, including mall that is supposed to be bigger than Dubai Mall. Compare that infrastructure to anything that you can access on the islands. You will see that Design District is way richer in infrastructure. It is in the epicenter of the life. It will offer a lot more attractions, events, nightlife, fine dining, and branded projects compared to anything you can have on islands. So that is just another community around that downtown and DIFC, if you're targeting them, that will be definitely catering to residents of Dubai. So for each of the islands, you have an ideal portrait of a customer. I have a client who bought in Rashid Yachts and Marina in early stages because all his life he's been a captain of a ship and he is a yachtsman. So now he bought a couple of apartments for him, for his family, and he enjoys being next to his boats. He has a couple of them. He enjoys sailing, there's water sports, and he has all his fellows around him, and they have yacht club there, and all the possible infrastructure needed for him for his happy retirement. That's an ideal customer for Rashid Yachts and Marinas. In Maritime City, I have a client who bought an apartment there just because his business is connected to Maritime Free Zone. You should keep in mind that half of the Maritime Island will remain as a Maritime Free Zone, which means that the port is not moving anywhere, by the way. Maritime Free Zone is attracting people who do that kind of business. So ideal customer for residential half of the project is someone attached to that free zone who is doing business in free zone or is somehow connected to it. So it's comfortable for him to live next to it or to have office next to it. So this guy is absolutely happy with a nice building next to free zone and a relative proximity to downtown and main areas in Dubai. Now for Dubai Islands, I have different ideal customer portraits. For those who want to buy cash flow units, one big group. For those who want to buy a holiday home with a beach access, with walking and pedestrian infrastructure, with access to the mall, then we have residents of Dubai, let's say mainly Russians, UK citizens and Germans who like to be on a beach side, and those who majorly buy properties with a beach access in Dubai. And another group of users for Dubai Islands is wealthy residents of Old Dubai, of Deira. There are many people who do business in gold market, gold souk. So they have enough money to buy any properties in Dubai, but their business is close to Deira. So for those people, for those wealthy people, Dubai Islands is the closest community built from scratch with the high standards, with different checks. I mean, you can buy properties starting from $550,000 for one-bedroom apartment and up to a couple of $1 million for duplexes and penthouses. So you have multiple ideal customers' portraits in Dubai Islands. So based on that, to sum up the video, you should clarify for yourself before going on for any properties in any of that islands. What is your strategy? Do you fully understand the difference between putting properties on long-term rents, putting them on short-term rents, pros and cons of each strategy, the potential for capital appreciation in each area, the fair price that you will be ready to pay for that kind of asset if it's an investment for you? And the main question is your ideal customer or a buyer who will pay you premium or high rent, is that group big enough to create an overwhelming demand for that properties compared to supply in this particular area? And that question is also linked to is this area strong enough to compete for this target audience with other communities around in Dubai? So if you answer all that questions, you will have a balanced decision where you have your expectations in the right place. You are not unpleasantly surprised, or you didn't set your expectations higher than this product can cater. And that is a proper frame, as I see it, how to make informed investment decisions. Now you have some information to digest and I have some pizza to eat.